Welcome. In this session is about mentoring and the Omega Point program. And the Omega Point program was created by Bill Wick. And I'll actually let him sort of introduce himself because I'm going to do a 2-minute video that he created for the Elder Cafe, which he talks about who he is and what he did. And then his son, Andy, who has been really working with Omega Point program, who is actually mentoring me at the moment through it, will talk a little bit about it, and then others can share because there's others on this call who have had experience with it and just kind of share what it is for them. So I will start with the video here.
Hi, my name is Bill Wick, and it's an honor to be with you, and I'm looking forward to being with you on the cafe. What we're going to cover is an Omega Point program, which is a program that I've developed during COVID. And basically, what's going to be involved in this program are things I've learned through 10 years with MKP and 20 years doing prison work using MKP skills. I was initiated in San Diego in May of '91. I became a co-leader and then a full leader in '95. And I was also leader chair in '96. I wrote the bucketing process in '94, '95, I don't know when it was. And all it is a simple regression. I was also curriculum chair. And so one of the trainings I developed was a next step training. It used to be called the mission training when it was in San Diego. And we've been doing the next step training as a co-ed training for 20 years now. And when COVID hit, we could no longer do it in person. And I developed this Omega Point program to take the technology and the tools and the facilitation skills that we taught in Next Step and put it into a day-by-day program where one person, especially an elder, is ideal. An elder can take another person through this program and mentor them. They can do the whole 40 days and basically take that person step by step into their inner world and to learn healing skills, learn facilitation skills, and then do also some of the deepest work maybe they've ever done. The whole thing is real simple. There's a script for every day, and every day builds on the last day. You'll learn and experience real deep active listening, and then some other tools like reframing, regression, and different things that'll take you deeper into your inner world and working very effectively on some real deep issues you may have. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. And there'll be other guys on the training on this cafe that have done the OPP, and they can share their experience too. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
Personally have done Omega Point level 0 twice, and I've mentored 2 people in level 1, and I'm being mentored right now and just finishing up 1 and starting 2 with Andy Wick, who is Bill's son, and I have deeply loved it. Great listening skills and great tools to use. So I'll turn it over to Andy at this point.
Well, hello, everyone. 2 things I'm really excited about right off the bat. First of all, seeing so many beautiful elders. That's amazing for me. A lot of respect and love goes to my elders, and especially to be led in by my father. That's a blessing within itself. To me, death is a transformation. And I can't think of another greater lead into this than what you're bringing up is the transformation that occurs with the Omega Point program. So the Omega Point program, my father said there's phase 0, phase 1, and phase 2. Phase 0 is where 2 people that don't have any facilitation experience are able to reciprocate back and forth each day. And that's a beginning way to learn about active listening, the echo process. Then it gets into positive intent process, creating a mission. Then it gets into reframing and regression. Now, phase 1 and phase 2 is where one person mentors another. And this one is more in depth, where you're getting into deeper part subconscious work. So you're working with individual parts that are inside. And the purpose is we work with love with all of our parts, love and respect with all of our parts. We're talking to them, using active listening to listen to what is going on within us. As we do that, we grow and develop those parts to come back and create a bigger and better whole of ourselves. And that is the Omega Point Program phase 1 and phase 2. You're dealing with inner child. You're getting into archetype work and things of that nature. I have been blessed to, I went through this in the very beginning, and I have been mentored through phase 1 and phase 2 by Kevin Halbert. We also went through phase 0 together. And then I have been a part of about, at this point, it's about 85 to 90 people's journey through the Omega Point Program. What I have found is it taught me, I know this is also entitled mentorship, it taught me how to be the best facilitator and mentor I could be. It taught me processes that I could help myself as I grew into being the best version of myself. And at this point, it is my life. It is what I do. My mission is my purpose is to bring Omega Point Program to the world, and continue this in men's groups, one-on-one. And that's what I'm using it with now. I'm currently in New Mexico. I am taking 2 people that are local through the program. And it's very similar to, Tom said it was very similar to an NWTA, 40 days. And currently I'm in the gym where my mentee works, and him and I meet at the river, and we go through our processes, and it's absolutely a beautiful thing. And that's just a little snapshot. Quite honestly, the best thing about this program is listening, and being able to respond. So if anybody has any questions around this or anything that they would want to bring into that, I know you guys have had a long day. I know you guys have had a lot of Zooms. So I would love to be open to answer any questions that anybody may have about this, or any input that they would want to give as well. Quite honestly, guys, I work better when I'm riffing off with people. So there's not much more to be formal about. Okay. I think the whole point of Omega Point Program is the connection. It's about us talking. It's about hearing each other and working through that. So I would love to just begin to that. So the Omega Point Program was built as a gift from my father to the world, and it is free. So it's 2 people walking through that. Phase 0, phase 1, and phase 2 are all on the website of omegapointprogram.com, and they are free to download. It is a the phase 0 is a 20-day program, usually a half hour to 45 minutes a day. And then phase 1 and phase 2 that goes together is a 40-day program. And that is a half hour to 45 to an hour. Really depends. It really depends on the 2 people that are walking with it, the mentor and the mentee. It can absolutely open up to a 4-hour session. It happened with me and one of my mentees. We went 4 hours, just riffed with each other the whole time, did some amazing, beautiful inner work. Or it may be something that is a half hour. It can be very quick, but it is a 40-day commitment between 2 people. Normally people do this anywhere, I would say, from 1 day a week to 5 days a week. So it's really depending on the journey of the individuals that are doing it together. And this is what I love. Spirit just comes through listening to each other. The Omega Point Program, the name of the Omega Point Program comes from Teilhard de Chardin. And an Omega Point is the height of the human consciousness and human existence. The point of the program, my dad brought this so people could hear themselves, understand their purpose, unlock what's within them, and live a purposeful driven life. And then we co-create a purpose mission driven life that we reach the pinnacle of what we can do as human beings together. And I tell you, I live this 24/7 now, with my wife, with my mentees, with everyone I meet. I utilize the technology simply of the active listen and then of the echo process. It has created a better relationship across the board, but first of all and primarily with myself. And the relationship I have with myself has created that space to give and hear everyone I meet and everyone I'm able to be present with. Speaking of presence, it calls on you to be present for yourself. And that's the mentee. The mentor has to be 100% present with the mentee in such a way of, I don't know if you guys have ever done this in facilitation, but you almost have an instinct of where it's going to go. And sometimes that can color or filter the lens that you're wearing, and you almost try to lead someone there. This program has you develop to the point of getting out of my own way so that person can walk through that door easily and take us somewhere that I never expected. So phase 3 is going to be an even deeper dive into the parts, into the inner world. Part 3 gets into, first it starts off with getting to know the archetypes that are within us. What is our king? What is our lover? Our warrior? Our magician? And then we learn to embrace those archetypes, and in those archetypes we embody them and understand the power of them. We also understand the different levels of the archetypes. We do a ranking on ourselves and get to know where we are and where we can develop. Meaning, are we at shadow? Level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. Okay? It's no matter where you are, it's fine. It's simply a way for us to take a litmus test of where am I as a warrior? Am I running out there just roughshotting over everybody? Or am I walking a path of win-wins for everyone I meet? And a magician, am I walking in a path of manipulation? Or am I walking in a path of manifestation for the better of all of mankind, for everyone I meet, of humans? The lover, am I giving freely to see the growth of everyone? Or am I more into self-love and those kind of things? And what can I work on? So it starts with archetypes, and then it gets into releasing of energies. Yes. Then it gets into releasing of energies and that will be intrusive. About 5% of the time, there's energies that are attached to us, whether it's past life, whether it's ET, whether it's earthbound, or it is a darker energy that we may be carrying with us from our life. For example, when I was 20, I had an energy attached to me that through the program, I was able to identify with love and respect, not with aggression or with adversarial feeling, but more with a love and respect, and able to let it go and heal that part that brought that in when it brought it in. So phase 3 gets much deeper into the subconscious and teaches a little bit more about energy release. That's how that ends up. And then there's some just incredible visualizations that you are led through. And when you go through these visualizations, it's the insight within yourself. I mean, there's visualizations of, and I think you may have gone through these, but there's death, funeral, these things, visualizations for you to really get in touch with, am I living the life that I want to? Am I in aligned with how I'm walking on this world? Phase 3 is very in depth into those. Mission. So you've heard me talk a lot about purpose, the essence of me. So I'm going to give you my mission statement right off the bat. So my purpose is to bring Omega Point program to the world. And my mission statement is I create a higher frequency human existence and experience by meeting people where they are, creating and holding a safe space, and utilizing my gifts to unlock and unleash the infinite within. Every day, you check in with your mission. After it's created, you check in. Then you check in with your parts that are within you through this program. Does it resonate? Are there things that we can be refining? I had the pleasure of doing, my dad called me, and then anything my dad says, I'm like, yeah, I'll try it, Dad. Like, I'm in. And he called me 2 years ago. And he's like, I have a mentor for you, and it is complete. And are you ready? And I said, yes, Dad, let's go. And started with my mission there. And this is probably about the 7th revision of that. And it is it's the one that resonates the most with me. And it's been an incredible experience. And you know, that's how important mission is. And then bringing mission to the forefront every day. We don't say, how are you living your mission today? But when we talk to our parts with love and respect, we go through reframing, we go through regression. We ask the parts, are you aware of my mission? Are you aware of Tom's mission? Are you aware of Elliot's mission? Are you aware of Helen's mission? Yes. Excellent. So, and does it resonate with you? Are you okay with it? Yes. Creating behaviors that align with the mission. So all the parts of us, all of a sudden, are all looking the same way. We're all focused and aligned, walking that mission together. To me, is insanely powerful. To know myself, to love each part of me, even the parts that may be considered shadow, that's still a part of me. I embrace it. And that energy is reframed from love into mission. Because at the end of the day, positive intent shows us even the parts that are critical. That is, if it's a part of me, it loves me and it has a reason for being there. And so realigning that energy that I may have learned when I was younger and a behavior that is now toxic, that energy gets to change that toxicity into something that is positive and aligned with my mission, and we move forward together. Gratitude and joy is coming up for me. Also something I will say, and I think this is part of that, to riff on that, is it's absolutely your journey. And when it is the right timing for you, it is the right timing. I love that. It is very much like a voice dialogue, and it's talking to the parts. I am not familiar with that work, but I will say this about my father. My father, when he started getting into facilitation, he's an aeronautic engineer from Notre Dame. And he, what he does, and he has a brilliant mind for doing, is he dives in. So he would go into all the different systems, and he would read one author, and then he would just dive into it. So voice dialoguing, he would go into different modalities to do this work. When COVID hit, he realized he had to really bring it all down to a very clean base level that everyone could use this and everyone could connect with. So yes, I would say there is absolutely voice dialogue in this. I'm not familiar, so I could not make the comparison. Beautiful question. So I'm gonna break down first the requirements. The requirements that you're ready to commit to a program for yourself and with another person. That's number one. Number two, you go on the site and you register as a mentee or a mentor. And then to answer the question about phase zero is specifically designed, and I think it's almost perfectly designed for a business world. Okay. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's a 20-day program where two people that have no facilitation background whatsoever, it's not needed, come into that. The only agreement you have to make to each other, there's two, is we're going to do this for 20 days together. And number two, who's mentor A and who's mentor B, right? That's it. And then everything is scripted. And my dad, I think it's like on the second or third version of Zero, and phase 1 and phase 2 are like on the third or fourth version. Everything is scripted to a point where where it makes it so easy to mentor is that you simply have to read off the script.
Okay.
So often I believe I used to get in my own way. I'm like, well, I'm going to play with this. And then, man, Andy, just go by the script. Use my gifts of listening and echoing back that I have. But that's what it teaches you. And it's by script. It's very simple. And it leads you through it. So phase 0. And when you go through phase 0, what's really neat about going through phase 0 is I believe that preps you to be a better facilitator and mentor where you could take someone through phase 1 or phase 2. The question is starting it with a friend or a romantic partner. The answer quite simply is yes. You can, that's the thing about this. There's not meant to be limitations here. There's the infinite of us that's there. This is not built to be limiting. Me bringing this to the world and doing this, number one, is because it does fit me. I'm my father's son and I'm my mother's son. My mom is incredibly spiritual. This fits who I am. And I'm made to do this. Number two, this is my dad's opus. This is my father's gift. And it is absolutely beautiful. And I honor him. And to hear the honor for him, Sam, thank you. I mean, that if he was here and he heard you, if anybody knows him, he would already have a tear in his eye just to hear that. So thank you. Here's what I'm also doing is, and if you don't have a mentee or a mentor that's to go with right now, registering on the site, quarterly, I send out an email. And I send out an email to all the registration people that are registered, because I look for people that are looking to be mentored or mentored. I check to see what their time zone is, stuff like that, so I can hook them up together.
First of all, I did phase 0 twice, one with a guy that I had never met before, and also with my brother, one of my brothers, and just deeply enjoyed both and really feel closer. Just really feel a great friendship and a deeper friendship with my brother because of it. Phase 1, I led a man through it before I was mentored in it. And it worked out just beautifully. And the thing is, it's just got a script that you basically just read. And if you are open and sit with it, that is, it totally just flows from that. And you just listen to, and because it's about following, it's not about leading somebody someplace. So that's a very important, part of how that works. The other thing that I like is I'm totally into internal family systems, which is like No Bad Parts is the great book on that. If you want to check out a great book, No Bad Parts, meaning all your parts are good, which means it's like there's not these parts of me that I've been really letting go of shame, about some of my parts that are there, and it's like going into positive intent with those parts and going, what are they trying to do for me, and just really relating to that and really working with that. That to me feels like a huge, big plus for doing it. But I think, just if in doubt, do phase 0 with anybody, a relative, a spouse, somebody that you've never met before, somebody that Andy recommends off the site, because it's just this deep listening. We all need to be listened to deeply, and we all need somebody to listen to us deeply. It just really is this deep, satisfaction for doing it. The other thing that my mentor back in 30 years ago really worked a lot with trance states. And I find that when I'm mentoring somebody or being mentored in it, I go into a trance state. And basically, he talked about it not as like going into a trance, but getting rid of our normal everyday trance and just getting into a clearer space, to really communicate with people. So those were all things that for me have been just really, really powerful. And I really feel like it's an adventure. So there's the New Warrior Adventure, and I think Omega Point program can be the Old Warrior Adventure for doing it. So I highly recommend it. And one thing that to me is a key kind of question, and that's like, what happens if somebody gets stuck? I was actually I mentored my one of my son-in-laws, who also is an MKP warrior brother. And I mentored him through it. And at one point he got stuck. And it was like, there was a voice in his head, and it was just like, he just didn't want to do it anymore. And we just stopped it. And we spent 2 days working with that voice that came up. So you work with whatever comes up. I think that's a really key part, for Omega Point program, and just follow that. And for him, it was like, once that resolved, and he really recognized that slinking, self that was sort of sitting in the background, whispering funny words that's not who you are. Once you got really clear talking to that voice and hearing what it wanted and welcoming it to the table, then we went right back in, and everything has flowed ever since then. So that's what I want to share with Omega Point program.
Yeah, it's omegapointprogram.com.
Downloads, and you can find whichever one, phase 0, phase 1, phase 2, that you want to download.
Not necessarily, no. And it's actually been interesting that my dad has known many people that have started mentoring before they menteed. I mean, Tom was one. And what happens quite often in that is, like, by day 10, you're like, I want to do this. I want to go through this. Someone's got to mentor me. Like, I want to experience that. I mean, especially when the key is when you start really getting that foundation of active listening, echo process, positive intent, mission, that foundation is really step by step built. I mean, like my dad said, it's like you're laying brick, 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 brick. And then it gets into the inner world. And in phase 1, about 3/4 of the way, you start talking really into your parts. You meet your higher self. You create a sacred space. You create an inner world. And you're guided to do this. So yes, you can mentor someone else in that. I implore you, do not miss out on your own. The amazing beauty that's within each one of you. And that's one of the most better things about being a mentor, is when I get to watch another person go like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. And when they hear the answers that come from within, like, you could ask me any answer, you could ask me a question about your life, and I'm a very spiritual man. I could never have the hubris to say I know what the answer is, because I don't. The only person and the only one that knows the answers to you is you. And that's the beauty of this program, is it's a guide for you to hear yourself and answer yourself. And you get to walk in that place, because sometimes it's scary. And I know this. You hear a critical voice. I don't want to listen to that guy. I don't want to listen to that damn thing. But when there's someone next to you, either holding your hand or just walking, holding a torch, and whatever that is, there's a safety there, and you safely walk it with someone else. And that's what's so beautiful about being a mentor and being mentored. So yes, you can. I recommend doing it yourself too. Omega Point program is 0, 1, and 2. Omega Point Academy is after you give feedback, after you have graduated phase 2, you get a certificate. You have graduated phase 2, and you get a little thing on that. And then you get a link to go to the Omega Point Academy. The Omega Point Academy, the whole purpose of the Omega Point Academy is the later versions, phase 3. My dad's working on phase 4. His vision is to have to phase 8, where it's very paradigm shifting of the Omega Point program. Also in there are connections to the Next Step trainings, the Omega Weekend trainings, those things. So that's where, when you graduate through the program, now it's further education down that line. There's also things on there about how to become a certified mentor. The certified mentorship, I'm a certified mentor, is where you go through, basically it almost looks like a curriculum. It's a curriculum of freshman, sophomore, junior, right, to become higher and higher levels of facilitators and mentors, and where you can bring that to and how you can bring that to the world. Books, all the different things. My father does guides to study to increase your own consciousness.
The whole structure of it's free, and if somebody mentors you through it, or you do it with somebody else, even equals, both people agree to share it with 2 other people. So it becomes one of those things of like, if very quickly, it spreads out through the whole planet if you follow that out.
Yes. And I know we don't have much time, but there's something I wanted to share with you guys. And on day 21, there's a phase 1 wrap up. And it's a wrap up. And I told you my purpose is to bring this to the world. But I want you to hear this from another man. And who I'm sharing this with is a gentleman that I have gotten the pleasure to mentor over Zoom, which is so beautiful, is because it is so universal. He's a young man who is in a refugee camp in Africa. And every day, when I first met him, he had a cast on his arm because, violence and these type of things. So I asked him to describe in his words what phase 1 was for him. And he said, it's excellence, thunderous. It is medication. It has helped me solve many problems. How has the experience been? It helps humankind find self-power. What comes up for you does not stop with me, and it must be spread. It must spread the gospel. What have you learned about yourself? That I'm a leader. I can do stuff. I'm not worthless. There's an easier way of solving issues, brings out the kindness, joy, gratitude, and fulfillment. Insights are observations. Importance of being with another versus being alone. How is your life different? It's taken me a long time to have joy, gratitude, and fulfillment to my soul and me. A very positive difference. I asked him what is working well. It's working for me, and I don't want to be selfish, and I want to share with others. Not sure how I would proceed. So very similar to like, how do we proceed? And then hopes and expectations, more experience of how to deal with issues and find ways to share mates. Any fears? He just wanted to be on time. His only fear was being on time to the sessions. And he has no fear because he has overcome it in the beginning. And I wanted to share that because the universal nature of it. And I'm a mentor as far as age group goes. There's our youth, there's our mentors, and there's our elders. I've had the distinct privilege of being able to be a mentor for elders, which is such a respect. But this goes across all, and especially for me, in this world that we live in today, there is nothing more important than us finding our true voices, our true mission, our true purpose, are walking a purposeful, driven life, so we can have a greater world to be a part of. And that's what I want to leave. That is what I'm doing. So that's really all I got. I know we have 4 more minutes here. And I just wanted to end it with that. So thank you for hearing me, and thank you for hearing him. My beautiful friend.